All right, everyone. So we have the finals. It is set. It is the Pacers and the Thunder. So we're going to just take an overview of all the odds here so you guys can take a look, and we'll talk about as many as we want. Some of them I'll skip over, but I'll talk about a good chunk of them. So we'll start with the basic, the series winner, minus 650 for the Thunder and plus 475 for the Indiana Pacers. Now, this is a series that people simply think the Pacers don't really have much of a chance, right? And I think there's a level of when you're looking at it from, okay, let's put the play styles together, let's take a look at it. I would lean to it in terms of I understand why people feel that way, right? I'm not making that prediction. I'm just saying I understand why people feel that way. The Thunder are a really well balanced team, but the defensive ability of the Thunder is going to be something the Pacers are going to have to deal with. In the Knicks series, it was the Pacers that had that kind of defensive intensity that I didn't expect. But that was one of the main reasons, that they were able to beat the Knicks was because they were shooting the ball well. They were playing well on offense. And in especially game 6, if you watch it, defensively, they were causing havoc. They were forcing turnovers. They were letting their defense fuel their offense, right? People think it probably might flip around in this one, right? Where you have an elite defensive team in the Thunder that could also score. Maybe they don't want to get into a shootout with the Pacers, but it's going to be a lot tougher for the Pacers to get the kind of looks they got in this series against the Knicks against the Thunder. So I think that's a lot of what you see is I don't think people think that the Pacers are or that the Thunder are a great matchup for the Pacers, right? I think they feel like the play styles, the Thunder get a little bit of an edge there. But if you think the Pacers can win, there's some value in a half with this, right? So it's like if you were to put I mean look at that. I mean that's some value, right? If you put 1,000 on that, you're winning over 5K. So pretty good. Okay. Thunder at minus 1.5 games. So that means that they win in what would that be? That would be five or less. So 5 or 4. That's minus 275. So Vegas thinks this thing's done in at least 5 games. I mean, that's what we're getting out of this, right? Pacers plus 1.5 games. So if you're looking at this, I mean, this thing just going 6 games is plus 220. Once again, it's showing you kind of the way Vegas is viewing this thing. Is that going to get kind of bet down? Maybe, right? There's a chance that that's the case, but some phenomenal odds. All right, the Thunder minus 2.5 at minus 130. Um, Once again, I mean, so this is basically predicting the sweep. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. These are the kind of odds that we're getting. The Pacers plus 2.5 games. That's at minus 110 or plus 110, I should say. OKC Thunder plus 1.5 games minus 1,400, and the Pacers minus 1.5 games plus 850. So if you think so what would that be? That would be again, right? That's them winning in 5. Wow. Okay. Thunder plus 2.5 minus 5,000. Pacers 2.5. That's plus 1,800. So I think that would be the sweep. If I'm not mistaken. Yes. Well, no. Am I messing this up here? Minus 2.5 would be because that's 3 games. I don't know. Well, let's look down here. Plus 260 is a sweep. So where would that line up? That would line up with. So this must be in 5? Yeah, because okay. So yeah, all right. So this is in 5. Minus 130 is in 5. So this is in 5 games. Right here. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. I understand it. Okay, series total games. So they think it's going to be under 6, right? Very obviously here, minus 135. Correct score, plus 250. I mean, obviously, you're kind of getting a little bit of the odd difference here because of the fact that you're predicting it right away. But you see all of the bigger ones, right, are all over here at good odds. And then the Pacers winning in basic, I mean, Pacers sweeping plus 4,500. And this is the exact outcomes of these games. The exact games that I don't hate these bets actually, because if you think like, hey, then you don't even have to pick a winner, right? You could just say, hey, I think this thing's going six. Boom, put it on that. Games one series double. Oh, so this is who wins game one and who wins the series. So Vegas is looking at this. I was going to say this is something I don't hate. The Pacers steal one early. That feels like something that could definitely happen. I would not be shocked by that. And we said that in our betting preview for the Knicks series too, and they came out and they won in game one. I would not be shocked that they win game one and the Thunder still go on to win the series. Buzzer beater plus 2,000. Comeback series win. They have to come back from a two-game deficit. Interesting. I would probably think, and in my opinion, if I was to place that, I would probably put it on the Pacers because I just don't see the Thunder going down 2-0, right? Whereas with the Pacers, I think there's actually a decent enough chance that they could. There's definitely a decent enough chance they could because they might lose both on the road right off the jump. So, and then if they win those next two, you have that bet and you're feeling pretty good about it. One of these comeback deficits, I don't hate this bet either, to be completely honest with you, because I feel like the Thunder, they're inconsistent. They could get down big and then roar back, and the Pacers we've seen are the exact same way. Um, I really like these bets too. Because one thing I like about this one specifically I'm looking at now, it's a little bit nerve wracking, but if I was to place one of these, I wouldn't mind. Actually, I actually prefer Game Four even more than this because I really think the Pacers are probably getting one. I would be stunned if this thing ends up being a complete sweep. So the Pacers maybe steal one. Um, And if the Pacers steal one early, maybe they don't steal one, in Indiana if they stole the first one. So if you're kind of going that way, so I don't hate a lot of these bets. Actually, I think I mean, the problem is a lot of these feel great, right? A lot of these absolutely feel great until you get into the series and you're like, man, I was so stupid. I put all this money on, stupid bets that didn't need to. Undefeated at home, minus 120. Undefeated on the road, plus 155. And this is obviously people are not expecting that. Okay, so that's the overview of for the series. Now let's get into player props a little bit. The series leader is Shea Gildress at minus three, or 3,500. And then obviously, I'll be honest, Pascal Siakam is a sleeper to me even if they don't win the series. Pascal, he was a killer in that Knicks series. And I think he could do a lot of that again, to be completely honest with you. Halliburton, I just think he does so much more, and he's not quite like Pascal Siakam. He's looking to score. Halliburton doesn't always do that. And the only thing with Shea is that Shea, there's a lot of talent on this team. They might be doing it defensively. I could see Shea taking a step back statistically in this series, but overall, the team. I could see the Thunder sweeping the Pacers, and Shea not averaging 30 points in the series, or even being oops, we just lost it. Not even being the leading scorer in the whole series overall. I don't hate Pascal Siakam being kind of the leader scoring wise in this series. So let's take a look. I'll just show you like $200 that's paying out 7 grand. I do not hate that one bit, to be completely honest with you. I don't know if he led the series in scoring this time around in terms of the Pacers versus Knicks series, but I wouldn't have been shocked. Let's just put it that way if he was. Total leader in threes. This is another one you could maybe get creative with. I wouldn't do Siakam in that situation, but Dort is probably not going to be the leader either. Neesmith, Turner. I guess that's why they have Halliburton locked in. But I mean, Jalen Williams, maybe. I would probably stay away from threes made because my problem with this is that first of all, I could see Halliburton not leading the series in threes, right? If he's trying to do other stuff or they're really closing out well on him and trying to get him to move the ball, he just doesn't appear to be someone that is going to be okay no matter what. This isn't Steph Curry, right? This isn't somebody who's just going to be getting his no matter what from three. Even if he's forcing up those threes, when he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, and he's doing so many other things as well. So I would stick away from it just because I don't know. Even if someone I could easily see somebody else um, jump in there, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Okay, rebound leader, Chet Hartenstein, Pascal Siakam, Jalen Williams, Miles Turner, Shea Gilgis, Tyrese Halliburton. Holy crap, crazy odds! And you go down the list here. This is another tough one. I like Pascal. I'm a big fan of Siakam. I'm a huge, 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 huge fan of Pascal Siakam. I think he's phenomenal. Um, I don't know if he's going to be leading the. This is tough, because some of these guys, like I said, and this is part of the problem with these prop bets is you look at it from the standpoint of okay, I'm going to bet all of these because they look so good. They're usually like you take a look at them, and once you get into the series, you're like, I should not have placed all those because they look so good. And now it's kind of all coming back down to reality that, yeah, there's a reason that these bets are where they are, right? It's a reason that he's minus 235 and this is plus 1,000 or this is plus 2,500 because Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, these are guys that will get easy, easy rebounds, right? And Miles Turner, I mean, as we saw in game 6, he didn't even play that many minutes. I mean, he still played a lot of minutes, but he got kind of his minutes almost cut in half. So it's like, all right, if that happens, well, then he's not leading the series in rebounds. So there's a reason Vegas has that where it is. The assists, I don't even think we need to really talk about that. I think regardless of what happens, Tyrese Halliburton will be leading this series in assists, but you could take a look at the other odds here. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we should now get into what I think is going to happen. I will say I do think the Pacers may make this more interesting than people are saying. I just look at it from the standpoint of everybody's on the Thunder. Everybody thinks the Thunder are great. They're perfect. This is a team that's easily going to roll the Pacers. And I just don't know if that's going to be the case. I think there's certainly a level of that. But the problem I have is the Thunder still feel a little bit inconsistent. And that doesn't mean they can't win the series. I just don't know if they can come in here and win this thing in 4 because the Pacers have shown that they have a little bit of that grit. They have a little bit of that intensity and they know how to get to their spots, right? They absolutely know how to get to their spots. So when you look at it from that standpoint, when they're playing their brand of basketball, are they able to kind of just get Shea Gilgeous out of his rhythm, right? Are they able to shoot as well as they did in um, the Eastern Conference Finals? You just look at it from the standpoint of they could make this thing like, is it really minus 650 to plus 475? Is that how lopsided this series is? I don't know. I just don't think so. So we'll see, though. This is going to be a great series. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.